remember that before you think about hiring someone, you need to not just feel like you about to be like, oh, I choose you, I pick you. This is not that type of process. So in this video, I am going to go over with you some things you need to do prior to and after you have hired someone. And you just need to have a full understanding that hiring someone is not like what you think it is at all. And I may even give you all some of my horror stories and then some of the best stories that has helped me dramatically in business. So keep watching. Starting out, you always want to make sure you have a clear understanding of who you need to hire for what. So the who and the why to why you're even hiring in the first place. What are your hiring needs? What exactly do you need? So what I like to do is, if I know that I am looking for someone, and let me try to dumb it down for like when I first started. When I first started, I knew that there were little simple tasks that I needed to get done. Emails, follow-ups, some data entry type stuff, things like that. Nothing too major. So I knew that I wanted to hire a virtual assistant. What I will recommend for you is to write down all of the tasks you do not want to do, or all of the tasks that you need to try to see if you can get someone to come in and help you on. See if those tasks can go into one role, or is that something you may need multiple roles for. So first, let's just determine that. We need to determine what position you need to fill, because you may see that the person who can get these tasks done, this list of 5 to 10 tasks done, cannot get these other 5 tasks done, and I may need to hire someone else. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, you also want to, let's just say you found exactly what you want this person to do. Go through the tasks that you're asking them to do and decide, is this something that I need someone full-time or part-time? Now, let me give you a little business tip for new entrepreneurs. 9 out of 10, you do not need a full-time person. Do not be so quick to hire someone full-time, especially starting out. Try to get someone part-time. A lot of the tasks that you probably have do not require someone full-time. So let's just start off part-time. But based off of the tasks that you have written down, you can better gauge if you will need someone part-time or full-time. Especially if you've been able to get all of those tasks done in 4 hours in a day and you only have to do it 3 or 4 days out of the week, then you know you only need someone part-time. So that's just something that will help you really honestly just save money. Now, the most important thing you want to do out of the list of things you done wrote down that you need someone to do, what skill sets does that person need to have? What I would recommend is you pull out a spreadsheet or a pen and paper, write down those tasks, and write down those skill sets that that person needs to have to be able to not just do the task, but exceed at the task. I think that is very, very important. And I'm going to give you a bonus tip here. I had a coach tell me this, and it kind of changed the game of how I look at who I hire. You also, off of those tasks that you've written, or just combining them together, what type of characteristic do you want that person to have? What type of person do you want to bring into the culture of your business? Because you have to remember that person is also a representation of you and your business. So you want to make sure that that person fits the culture. Not saying that you all have to have the same language or anything like that, but maybe you're looking for someone. I'll give you a prime example. I hired someone in the very beginning who was not necessarily as outgoing and bubbly as I am, and you could feel that in their emails. I hated for them to do follow-ups. You could feel that energy. So I know that when I hire someone who's gonna, especially if it's gonna be an admin assistant who's gonna be responsible for emails and phone calls and things of that nature, the type of characteristic that I want that person to have is more on the bubbly and welcoming side. So that's just something that you want to think about. Now, that's not the same for the person who I hire as my accounting assistant. I want that person's characteristics to be almost OCD. Basically, that's what I want. I want that person to be very stern and serious because I know that they're handling business. So that's a bonus tip, but that's also something that will help you on the journey of hiring, baby, because it is a journey. Now, I also told you that I was going to tell you things that you need to do before and after. So some of the things that you need to do before you post the job, not even hire, but before you even post the job, this is very important, guys. Those tasks that you have written down that we just talked about, what I want you to do is for every single task, I want you to record yourself completing that task. And I mean, put some monologue in it so that you're walking through it. I use a system called Loom to do this. This helps me a lot. It will also be very beneficial to add to your training videos when that person comes on. If you find that the video to complete one task is going to be more than 10 minutes long, I would recommend breaking that video up, because a lot of people do not want to watch a 15, 20, or even hour-long video about you completing a task, even if it is going to be the thing that helps them. I, myself included, don't want to watch a long-ass training video. So make sure you break it down into different parts if it's going to be super long. But you do want to make sure that you don't just have written of how to do this task, you have an actual visual. And this person can spend their first 1 or 2 days, or maybe even the first week, depending on how intense the work is, watching these videos to perform those tasks. That is crucial. And in the beginning, I was not doing this. I was spending 2 to 3 weeks teaching someone, training someone how to be on my team and having to pay them. No. I got this video for you that you can watch over and over again for you to get what you need to get from it. So download Loom if you need it. I don't know if they have a free plan, but I know they have some very reasonable prices. Now, I told you to create the video. I also want you to create a SOW, which is basically a scope of work. And these are some of the things that are going to turn you from a basic small business to a business builder, because now you're creating procedures and policies for your business that will stand through time. So when you have your video, or maybe you want to create your SOW first, I don't care how that part goes. I don't even think it matters, to be honest. I've made SOWs first. I've made videos first. But once you have done that, you have now a full layout that someone can read and watch of what to do to complete a task and certain procedures that they need to follow to complete that task. You want to also make sure on your SOW that you are including softwares that person will need to use, and also the time frame that you estimate it would take for that person to complete that task. I say this because you want people to know when they're coming in, one, that you're serious about your business, but also that I done did it before. Well, exactly what I've hired you to do, I've done. I know how long it takes. And if you cannot get the job done, we'll get someone who can. And that is the perfect way to do that. Don't let nobody bamboozle you. Okay? But you want to make sure that you have that SOW. And then another thing you want to do is research what other employers are paying for that role. And even to take it a step further, what are people who you could, potential employees that you're going to hire, what are they accepting? Like, what's the bottom line rate? What's the high end rate, so that you can get somewhere in the middle and get someone who has quality and who can provide quality work for you. That is super important to do before you post the job, guys. Okay. Now we're getting into the point of posting the job. So what I always recommend, I've already told you to do research on what people are paying. If you have no idea what you are doing, you have no idea what to put in your job posting, go and look to see for other people who are going to hire for that same position, what they're putting in their job posting. Take it a step further. The potential people that you could hire for that job, even if you've already put the posting up, let me just give you a scenario. Let's just say you've already put the posting up and you have people who are interested in that job. Go through what they provide in their service and Add some of those things to your job posting, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So you may go through someone's profile and notice like, I actually do need this, or that would be beneficial to my business. And if you put that in your job posting, that's just going to get you more quality, a more quality teammate or potential employee. Now, if you are a little more familiar with this process, then you just want to, truth be told, keep it a little simple. Make sure you have the job title and make sure it's captivating enough for people to be like, this is the role for me. And if you can be specific, you will wean out just a lot of unnecessary fluff of people who will try to get in on that job posting. And then also make sure you put the responsibilities, of course, and the qualifications. I would even add your expectation for that employee. One of my things that I love to do in every job posting, whether it's a big role or a small role, is I like to add like a message in the middle of the job posting, because I want to make sure the person that comes on has actually read this job posting. So I may add something like, reply back with your favorite software system, or reply back with the word roles. Something on the lines of that will ensure me that I am getting someone who is taking this job posting seriously. So that may be something you can add in just to kind of help you out a little. All right. So we done made it through a lot of what to do beforehand and during. Now let's get to the point of the actual interview. Make sure you have interview questions. Get your behind on ChatGPT or some other software if you really need help to be able to answer those questions. But what I would do with my interview questions is simple. What are some things that I am doing? And what, basically just ask yourself, if you did not know any of this, what type of terminology would you use? Ask them questions that if they did not know anything about this, they would not be able to answer. Or use terms that only someone who does this for a living will understand and be able to have knowledge on. Also, make sure you're asking questions, simple questions like your availability. I know for myself, especially because I work with a lot of people in the Philippines, I want to make sure that they can work in the Eastern time zone. So that is a part of my interview questions. Are you able to work in EST time zone? Because if you are not, we can cut the interview short. Sometimes, depending on how big the role is, I will even add that in my job description just to really cut it out. But that can be an interview question, something as simple as that. And asking, how much would you like to be paid? I may already have an idea, but that's a simple question that you can ask someone to really see what. Honestly, that's a great way to do research too. But that's another option of an interview question. But when it comes to like accounting, hiring anyone who's going to do any accounting, I use a lot of terms that only accountants will understand. I also like to ask, what is your process for this whatever task that it may be? I want to know step by step what your process is. If you are new to the industry that you are in, I will really recommend that you brush yourself up on that type of terminology, because knowing that, I promise you, will get some people out of your hair when it comes to hiring. You also want to do video interviews. I will not ever hire you if I have not been able to look you in your eyes. If you come onto my video interview and you have your camera off and you try to proceed with the interview with your camera off, I will ask you once politely to turn your camera on. If not, we can go ahead and end their interview. That is very important. And make sure, as a business builder, you have your camera on as well, because people need to see your eyes. People need to know that you're serious about your business. And know this, the person you bring on your team is only going to be as serious as you are about your business. So what that means is you have to be overly serious about your business so that they can at least meet the basic standards of being serious about your business. Now, a pro tip that I want to give you, let's just say you get an overwhelming amount of applicants. Let's just say for a virtual assistant role, you get about 30, 40 applicants who are interested. What I would do, and this is going to upset some people, but it will really eliminate the people you don't want. I would invite all of them onto a group interview. The people who are uncomfortable on that group interview is probably because they're not confident in themselves and their ability, which is cool. You need to leave anyway. The people who are on that group interview who refuse to turn their cameras off, you can get rid of those people as well. And then the people, once you get on there and you give them whatever instructions it is that you may want to give them, once you give them those instructions, the people who cannot follow those instructions, you don't want them anyway. I'm just saying. And then always make sure that you don't allow for people to just come into the room on their own. You have to add them, because after a certain time frame, if they are late, especially if they have gone past 5 minutes late, you don't need to be interested anyway. I'm telling you, you want to eliminate as many bad apples as possible, because there are some bad apples out there. Now, I know that I gave you a lot of valuable information as far as hiring someone, but I want to leave you with something. And this is just my personal advice from being an entrepreneur and a business builder for the past 3 years. Do not be so quick to hire someone full time, and do not be so quick to hire someone in the US. Don't be afraid or stray away from hiring someone who is abroad. Those people who are abroad sometimes work even harder than those who are in the US. But not only that, they are a lot more affordable than someone who's in the US. So if you need someone, just make sure you can find someone who can understand you fluently, and there isn't a huge language barrier. But do not miss out on the opportunity of having a great virtual assistant who isn't going to cost you an arm and a leg because you are afraid to hire someone who's abroad. That's very important. Another thing I want to leave you with, I would highly recommend getting a time tracker software, preferably something that could view their screen while they're working. And I say this because although I've dealt with some great candidates, I have also had some bad apples. And you want to make sure that you are protecting yourself in the long run. So I use Time Doctor, which will track your time, your dead time, when your mouse wasn't moving, when your keyboard wasn't doing anything. And I could see your screen. There's a full recording of what you were doing on your screen. I have caught people not doing anything. I have caught people working on tasks that had nothing to do with my business. I have caught so many different things from this that has helped me save money. Okay, so I want you to go ahead, rewatch this video, take notes this time so you can really get a feel of what you may need to do, or the tasks that you may need help with in your business. Hope you've enjoyed this video and that you got more than enough information. Take what you've learned today and choose from one of the other videos or playlists, and I'll see you next week.